Hello and welcome to Falcon Blues TV. I'm Callum Davies here with your match preview for the midweek game where Everton will be travelling to West Brom. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff on Thursday the 4th of March and we're going to be shown on Sky Sports. Before we get into the video, can I just say thank you for the support on the last video, and if you wouldn't mind going down, liking and subscribing this one, we'd really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, West Brom currently sit 19th in the table, 9 points adrift from safety. They've only managed to get 5 points in the last 8 games, but the last win was an important one against Brighton. The controversial 1-0 win where Brighton missed the 2 penalties and the free kick goal that got disallowed. So it wasn't exactly a convincing victory, but neither was ours really. A scrappy 1-0 win against Southampton, but it gets the monkey off our back of the home form as well as the Anfield hoodoo. So it seems like we're making steps in the right direction this season. I think in the Brighton West Brom game, Brighton had just over 3 expected goals, and I know everyone goes on about Brighton's expected goals this season, but if you look at West Brom's expected goals that they were to concede at home, they've been expected to concede at least 2 a game when playing at the Hawthorns, and when you combine that with our away form, which is pretty unstoppable at the moment, I think we've won 5 of our last 6, unbeaten since November most likely. West Brom have won 2 home games all season. It seems like, I said this last week, but it seems like it should be another routine victory, but it's never that way against especially teams who are fighting relegation battles and scrounging for points. Now, Ancelotti came out after the game and said that he has aspirations of us reaching Europe, and he said that the top 4 is definitely there for the taking, and I definitely agree with him, because this season's just so crazy that if you pick up a run of form, you can propel yourself into those spots, and it's these games where you decide whether you're going to finish in those spots or not. We need to pick up points against relegation sides or bottom half sides more predominantly, because they're where the points are picked up. When we go to play Man City, I don't expect much from Everton other than a good performance. If we lose, we lose, because they are a better side than us. But when we lose to a side that isn't as good as us, and it's because we've been outworked, that's when it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. And I'm just hoping that this game won't be another one of those examples like Fulham a few weeks back. We were outplayed that day, obviously, but we were outworked as well. So that's where we need to be careful. The last time West Brom beat us was 2016. I know they've been in and out of the league since then, but it was 2012 since they last beat us at the Hawthorns. It's nearly 10 years ago. So you'd like to think that it won't be drop points, but you never know. We've got a boost, however, from our injury news. Ancelotti said that there was a lot of minor injuries in the Southampton game, hence why Tom Davies, James, Olsen and Coleman all were unavailable for that game. Minor injuries. I think he just wanted to rest them without the fans getting on his back for fielding a weakened lineup. So I would assume that they will all feature, except for maybe Olsen, in some capacity. Obviously Alan is back. He managed to play a full 90, which I was surprised about against Southampton. I can't see him starting this game because he played a full 90 only a few days earlier. So we probably won't need a defensive midfielder like him, especially with Decore, who can run for the entire midfield and the rest. So I could probably see him dropping to the bench in favour of a more creative midfielder. Sigurdsson and Gomez could be brought in alongside Decore. West Brom, on the other hand, they've not really had that many players injured recently. Kieran Gibbs is a possibility, but he's suffered a neck injury, I think it was. He obviously saw red in the reverse fixture at Goodison Park, the stupid headbutt on James, and then we ran away with the game. So he might be available. And then Robert Snodgrass is another one who he doesn't score every game against us, but he's definitely a player who likes a game against Everton. There's thousands of players like that out there, but he's one of many. He scored against us earlier in the season, actually, in the League Cup for West Ham, rather. And I remember him scoring against us for Hull 2017. However, I read online somewhere that it's unlikely that he'll start because Allardyce will probably favour him for the game on the weekend where they play Newcastle. Newcastle are the team that are only 9 points ahead of them, so it could be seen as a relegation 6-pointer if they don't get a result there. So I could see him being rested in favour of that game, which will, I don't know whether that will benefit us because he's got a good delivery, he's got a good left foot, but they do have a lot of other options in the wide areas who, obviously, last time we played them, they punished us, Diangana and Pereira. So I don't know whether it will be a blessing if Snodgrass did play, but we'll see whether he does. Now, last time out, Everton played a 4-4-2, which I actually prefer. I like it when Richarlison starts up front. I think he works a lot better playing off a striker, especially like Calvert-Lewin, who, even when he's not scoring, I think he offers so much to the team. I don't think there's many players in Europe that can do what he does so effectively. Not that he's the best striker in Europe, but the way he holds the ball up and his work rate, I don't think there's many players that are even close to his level. Richarlison has found his scoring touch again recently. He scored 3 in his last 5 and scored against Liverpool, Southampton and Man City. 3 in his last 3 actually. So it's good to see him back firing after what I would say had been a pretty disappointing campaign for him. I'd say Pickford will almost definitely start in goal. He's looked confident in his last 2 games. I thought he was called upon very rarely in the last 2 games, but in big moments, Salah's chance against Liverpool and the Vestergaard chance at the end of the Southampton game spring to mind. He bailed us out really. Both of them were as good as goals because they would have just finished 1-1. So I think he's more than earned a run in the team, whether Olsen's fit from his minor injury or not. I think Ancelotti could go with 2 fullbacks, natural fullbacks rather than Holgate or Godfrey, as Coleman will be back. Digne did play on the left-hand side of midfield in the 4-4-2, but if he played left-back, it'd allow us to play someone more attacking or bring James back in, and that means that we could really press on West Brom and get a stranglehold on the game rather than having them sit back and we just let our 3 attackers and maybe 1 midfielder push onto them. We need to create overloads on the wings to create better attacking opportunities, because we're not gonna have easy chances against West Brom. We're gonna have to really carve them out. Whether they're a good defensive side or not, they're an Allardyce side, and we were once an Allardyce side, unfortunately, and it's not pretty to watch, but at times it can be really effective. And I can think of nothing more than him loving to get one over on us, considering how much the fans really, really don't like him. The midfield 3 will probably consist of Decore and Sigurdsson. I thought Sigurdsson was great last game. I thought he pressed quite well. He got about the pitch, and his assist for Richarlison was really, really good. It was similar to James's against Liverpool, perfectly weighted ball, and he's got that in him, and I think that would be perfect to have James and Sigurdsson in the same team because they're both capable of those opportunities, those chances, creating those chances. However, they do kind of, James and Sigurdsson, get in each other's way. It's the case of when Koeman was our manager and he signed 1,000 number 10s and we had Rooney, Klaassen and Sigurdsson all fighting to go through the centre. They do kind of get in each other's way, but it's against West Brom where you'll probably have space to pick passes. It probably will be the smarter option. That final central midfield spot, I don't think it'll be Allen. I think it'll probably be Gomez or Davies coming back in. Most likely Gomez, who I thought was alright against Southampton. It was better than he was against Liverpool, and he played a few nice little passes, but I don't think he's quite the level we need. And I said this last time, but the front 3 names itself, if they're all fit, James, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison. So I think those 3 will most likely start up front, and hopefully they'll be all we need really to get past West Brom. West Brom, on the other hand, the way they play packs the midfield out. The most played formation they've used this season was a 4-1-4-1, which just shows the way they like to play. Johnston will probably start in goal. I think he's a good goalkeeper, good shot stopper, but as is with most relegation goalkeepers, Pickford was the same when he was at Sunderland, good shot stopper, but they've got mistakes in them. They could occasionally flap at crosses, so there's a mistake there, but it won't be easy to get past him by any stretch. Kyle Bartley, who scored the winner against Brighton, will most likely start, and apparently there's been a bit of a headache for Allardyce between the other centre-back. Semi Ajayi, who was suspended, is back for this game, so whether he'll start over O'Shea, who Allardyce openly said he was happy with how he played against Brighton, it throws it in the air who will play, but both are big units and will cause us some issues from set pieces. Just in front of them, the Turkish loan signing Yokuslu will most likely start if fit. He'll probably just sit in front of the back four and allow the four midfielders in front of him to do their thing. They've got a number of central midfielders they could really pick from. Livermore, Gallagher, Sawyers, and Maitland-Niles, who's on loan from Arsenal. They're not bad midfielders, they're not bad options. I think Gallagher and Maitland-Niles are two really good options, and while they probably won't play together because they don't offer much balance, I think they've got the potential to pick a pass. I think from what I've seen of them, they're both a couple of decent little players, so they could definitely cause us issues if we give them space. But the way West Brom play kind of doesn't really allow central midfielders any kind of creative flair. It must be frustrating for players like that. But the fact that they're there poses a threat for us. And on the wide areas is where I get really worried. You look at Pereira and Diangana, who, as I've mentioned, scored against us last time out in the 5-2 win at Goodison. They've both got moments of magic in them. Whether they'll both start is another thing, because Matt Phillips has been preferred to Diangana in recent weeks. So I think it'll probably be Pereira and Phillips, but we could definitely see Diangana introduced at some point during the game. And they've all got moments of magic in them. Like Pereira's free kick against us at Goodison, it was from like 25-30 yards out. It was an absolute screamer, and Diangana's goal wasn't bad either. So they are threatening, and they're not slow either. If we were to push men forward and come onto their low block, if we give them space, they will punish us. They're not bad players. It's just the way they play limits the amount of times they'll be allowed to run at our fullbacks or have chances. And of course they've got the new striker Diagne up front, and I've seen him a handful of times, and I've thought he's caused problems definitely. Against Man United not too long ago in the draw, he had a number of chances where I thought he could have won it for them, one right at the end. But the fact that he gets in those positions, he causes issues for defenders. He might not score all the chances, but he's certainly there. So he'll also pose a threat for the centre-backs to deal with. They're not a bad side on paper. They do have good players, but they're just going to sit back. It's just the way that Allardyce plays. So we're going to have to come onto them, which is why the fullbacks, being natural fullbacks, if Coleman and Dean were to play, it would give us more attacking threat as well as the actual attack in midfield. But obviously at the end of the day, their main threat is going to be set pieces, same as Southampton. And I thought we handled them really well. We just gave a lot away. We gave away so many corners, especially at the end of the game when they were really pushing for it. And they didn't really threaten much. The Vestergaard chance came from a corner. But I thought we seem to have had them quite figured out. I think we'll need to do the same against West Brom. Otherwise, we definitely will get punished, and it'd be such a shame for us to fall at a hurdle like set pieces, where we have been strong throughout the season and we seem to be getting back to that kind of good, structured set piece mentality, but we'll see anyway. So what would a win mean for Everton? If we were to win, given the time period in which we're playing, or the time that we are playing, we would move up into 4th place, if for only a couple hours before Liverpool and Chelsea play just after us. But the fact that we would even creep into top 4, people will start to talk about us because we've been there. It stamps us out as not just there making up numbers. We're actually there to fight for a European spot, and these are the games where we actually have to just grind out results. Like Southampton, we ground out a 1-0 win, and we weren't at our best. We didn't play well by any stretch of the imagination, but we did what we needed to do. Kept a clean sheet, simple 1-0 win, and I'd take that all day again here. It's these games where we need to pick up the points, because as I said, I don't mind losing to a City, but I do mind losing to teams that on paper we should beat. I think my prediction, I think we'll keep another clean sheet. I could see it being 2-0 maybe. If we start the same way we did against Southampton, against West Brom, with high intensity, I could definitely see us scoring another early goal. I saw on Twitter someone saying the other day that when Allardyce signed for us, he said, "I'll take Everton into the top 4." And if he was to let us win on Thursday, he'd finally have actually kept his side of the bargain, his promise, and maybe we'll all like him a little bit more. It's doubtful, but it's possible. Anyway, let's hope for a good result, and thank you for watching. Without further ado, up the Toffees.